Hey, what's up, guys? I want to talk to you guys about a subject that I find very touchy to me because I've been affected, and I know that millions upon millions of other Americans have been affected by this condition, and this condition is known as asthma. I don't know if you're an athlete and you have asthma, it absolutely sucks because as a powerlifter myself, doing squats or deadlifts or bench with having trouble to breathe, it makes your training suffer dramatically. And as an athlete, this could really, really hurt your gains. So what I want this video to do for many people, if you're an athlete or you're not an athlete, is actually to present you a solution that can actually help your asthma quite a bit without the use of pharmaceuticals. So this video is not intended to treat or cure asthma. It's intended to be informational on how to help your asthma quite drastically. So without further ado, let's get it on. So firstly, let's talk about diet, okay? When you think about diet, you're not really thinking about relating it to asthma or acne or anything. But diet has a huge part on how your asthma reacts. And I noticed that as soon as I took out processed foods from my diet, that my asthma actually got better. It got better over time. Now, I want to talk about a little bit about my history on asthma. Just about around October, November 2012, I started getting asthma again. And I haven't had asthma in about 10 to 12 years since I was about 12 years old. So 12 years old, suffered with asthma most of my life. All of a sudden, asthma went away. 10 to 12 years later, I suffered from a really bad illness from the flu. And what this illness did was it got me coughing up all day long to the point where my asthma came back. And I was almost devastated because this made my training suffer dramatically. So I spent countless hours on researching on ways to help this issue. And one of the things I noticed that diet actually has a huge dramatic effect on how your asthma responds. And I thought, okay, let's look up some different diets, because other people have been mentioning that they have actually changed their diet and their lifestyle to help their asthma. But none of these people that actually mentioned that they changed their diets are athletes or powerlifters themselves. They don't even train. So I was curious, like, if this diet change can help me, hopefully maybe someday I can make a video to help other athletes. And that's what the whole point of this video is. So I looked into different diets, and one diet that really stood out was the paleo solution, or the paleo diet. And I know this diet gets a bad rap for being a little bit extreme, like, you know, just eating meats or vegetables, but it's more than just about just eating meat or vegetables. It's about cutting out processed crap from your diet. And what I mean by processed foods is anything found in a box, for example. Grains, white flour. These foods are fine if you don't have any debilitating effects such as asthma, but one thing I noticed is that if you do suffer from asthma or you have other illnesses, it might be a good idea to cut this processed crap out of your diet. And one of the reasons is that the processed foods actually cause inflammation, additional inflammations which you really don't need or your body can't handle. So what I did was I started experimenting. I wanted to see if this would actually work for myself. And as you can notice is that I can actually hold a conversation and not cough or wheeze or anything like that. So it's pretty awesome. I've only been on this diet switch for about 3 weeks and I already feel better. I don't have to rely on my inhalers. So cutting out processed crap definitely works. But the paleo solution actually goes a little bit deeper, saying that you should cut out your dairy, brown rice, grains, oatmeal, like those kinds of foods out of my diet. So I decided to experiment. I wanted to be open-minded enough to give it a real try. And what I found out is that it helped dramatically. I started including into my diet more healthy foods such as coconut oil, avocados, fruits, more vegetables, more lean meats such as fish, and eventually, hopefully someday, grass-fed beef. By including these foods into my diet and cutting out processed crap out of my diet, I felt better. I just Not just with my asthma, okay? To be honest with you, not with just my asthma. I felt better in the way I felt. I felt better in the way my skin looks. I felt better in the way that I can sleep. I can sleep faster. I can sleep, and wake up feel more refreshed. So I noticed that, wow, pretty cool. Like I actually feel better, and I'm actually feeling better at the gym. One of the things that I found difficult with the paleo diet, or just cutting out grains in general, rice, is that it could be hard to maintain your weight, but it's definitely doable. And now, I'm not speaking for the guys that are competing in the 220-pound and up class. I'm talking about for myself. This is just my personal experience. I only compete in the 181 division, and my weight class, my weight itself actually fluctuates from about 175 to 190. And I found that with eating this kind of lifestyle it's actually not that bad. I still include foods such as white potatoes in my diet, and by adding coconut oil into my diet and just slathering on my foods, like I found that I can maintain my caloric balance high enough to the point where I can maintain around 180, which is where I want to be at. So I know that with strength training, if you guys are into strength training, by the way, awesome, love you guys. Powerlifting, I love you guys, thank you. I noticed that if you're into strength training, like quantity is actually more important than quality. If you're concerned about strength, okay. But I'm not saying that it's if you're concerned about health, but if you're concerned about strength, you want to eat a lot, okay. And it could be hard with this kind of lifestyle because you're not eating out as much with your buddies or eating burritos and whatnot or Big Macs. But if you can actually increase the amount of food you eat that's not processed and more focused on lean meats, vegetables, fruits. And I noticed that if you just add coconut oil, for example, which is a great fat, by the way, really good for cooking, so much better than cooking with olive oil, because cooking with olive oil at high heats would actually cause free radicals to form in your body. But enough on that. If you actually increase the amount of foods you eat just from increasing them, like the amount of fruits or white potatoes or yams into your diet, you can actually maintain your weight quite well. And I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not sure if what powerlifters are nowadays doing, maybe buying a bottle of olive oil and slathering the whole damn bottle into a large pizza, who knows. But I know that it's possible to maintain weight on this diet. So I want to talk to you guys about other factors that can actually affect your asthma. Okay, and one of those factors would be the environment. Now, I know you're thinking, what environment? Well, I'm talking about where you live. If your room is really dusty, you want to get that fixed. And one of the ways to just clean up your room, like wipe it down. If it's really dusty, it might be triggering your asthma attacks. The cold weather. If you're going to go out and it's really cold, I notice from time and time again within the past 6 months I've suffered from asthma once again, is that whenever I go out and I'm not bundled up and it's cold outside, my asthma is just going to flare up like a motherfucker, man. Like, you need to be bundled up. You need to be bundled up. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about training. Just because you have asthma does not mean you should avoid training. I think training actually makes my asthma feel better. And I know you're thinking, like, how are you going to be able to train intense? Shouldn't you be resting and all that? Well, yeah, rest is important, but if you're totally going to be skipping your training, that what works for you, what works for you, and you're just skipping it out because you have a little bit of wheezing here and there, you're really cutting yourself short. So I feel that you should still be training at a good intensity. I mean, it doesn't have to be going all. You can't go all out if you're really suffering from asthma, because it's just really hard to breathe with a heavy barbell on your back, and you're trying to squat that down without able to get all your breath in. But you should still be training, in my opinion. And I just came back from a training session, and while I didn't suffer from asthma as much as I did like maybe a couple months ago, I actually feel much better after training. So give that a shot. And last but not least, when it comes to sleep and recovery from your workouts, I feel like every individual is different. And I know this, that sleep is really important for recovery, and I know it's important for asthma too. So there's a lot of lifestyle factors that play with asthma. So if you know that you can get by with 6 hours and you feel amazing with 6 hours, then get 6 hours. But if you know that you're one of those people that just absolutely needs 8.5, or 9 hours of sleep to feel at your maximum performance and to reduce stress, then make time for that. You deserve that. I know personally for myself, I need around 8 hours of sleep. I just need it. I know that if I get less, yeah, I can get by with 6, but 8 hours, I feel a big difference. So if you play around with your sleep schedules and sleep cycles and whatnot, play around with your diet, try to pay attention to the environment, and with the diet, like, pay attention, like maybe nuts are causing your asthma flare-ups. Like, try cutting nuts out of your diet, just one by one. Just notice, like, oh, if I cut this out, am I gonna feel better? Do I feel better? And cut it out for a good period of time, like 5 days, a week. Like, give it a shot. And I really recommend the Paleo Solution. It's a book that really made me think differently about nutrition. I know it has a bad rep, but I think everybody can agree that cutting out processed shit out of your diet is just gonna make you feel better. It's gonna help your health quite a bit. And I know that before starting with this kind of diet, I know my blood tests were really good and all. Like, I was considered very healthy, but I feel even healthier eating this kind of lifestyle, eating this kind of diet. So give that a shot. Really give it a shot. If you suffer from asthma, you shouldn't have to suffer from asthma. I know millions of people do, especially if you're a lifter or a power lifter. Like, just really give this a shot. Be open-minded enough and check it out. So that's all I gotta say with you guys. I hope this video helps somebody. I really do help somebody out there. I know that a lot of people suffer from asthma, but it doesn't have to be a reason to not look into it and really analyze it to the point where you can get rid of it and take action on it. So, hey, I hope this video helped you guys out a lot. My name is Dustin, and I'll catch you guys later.